Ferrario, live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
A little bit of news to pass along on the Blues Stars game later on tonight. Looks like they will be without their top defenseman, Miro Heiskanen, who's dealing with a non-COVID illness. They did activate a couple of players off their COVID protocol list. Roope Hintz, or better known as the Blues Killer, will be playing in this one tonight. He had 2 goals, and I think it was a shorthanded goal against the Blues earlier this season. And they're getting Alexander Radulov on the ice tonight against St. Louis. Blues will have Charlie Lindgren in between the pipes, and it does look like they're going with 6 defensemen and 12 forwards. And looks like Scott Perunovich will be watching from the press box later on this evening. Puck drop against the Stars is at 7 o'clock. Our pregame First Community Credit Union pregame show starts at 6. And to talk a little Blues and Stars and NHL, we welcome in NHL analyst specializing in analytics for NHL Network. He's one of my favorite. He is Mike Kelly. Mike, appreciate the time today, buddy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Well, first, and I know this is more so kind of big, broad picture here, but we're seeing more and more COVID cases pop up around the NHL. We're seeing more and more games postponed. Man, what have you made of what this last couple of weeks have been like in the National Hockey League, Mike?
Oh, it's the world, right? It's crazy. I'm doing a show last night, and we're on at 6 o'clock Eastern time until 8:30, so a little before puck drop, and then as the games are starting, and it seemed every time we were going to commercial, coming out of commercial, we had a new update of a player that's not playing. They were Colorado with Kemper and Makar, and every day you refresh Twitter, and it's, well, this guy's out, that guy's out. An entire coaching staff is out. Just wild stuff. It's not good, and now we're seeing teams that are going to be out, it looks like, until after the Christmas break. I don't have answers, I got to ask the question a lot. We're all asking each other a lot, how is this going to end? Where is this going? It's such a fluid situation. I'm traveling back to Canada tomorrow. I got to figure out the new restrictions and everything and try to get home and make sure that's okay. So it's a crazy world.
Yep, crazy world indeed. And yet we're seeing some games postponed, but other teams have been able to battle through things like this. And one of those teams is the St. Louis Blues, Mike. And what have you made, and just to put into perspective what this Blues team has been able to accomplish these last 4 or 5 weeks with so many players being injured, picking up points? They're sitting 5 points out of the top spot in the National Hockey League overall points. I mean, to go through what this team has gone through and still pick up points has been massively impressive.
No question. And there's other teams like that as well. I mean, there's other teams where it hasn't gone as well for them. It's impossible. So much of what I do in my analysis is rooted in data and statistics, and I'm almost throwing it out the window at some points because there's so many guys missing and at any given time. But for St. Louis to do what they've been doing lately, it's been great. Obviously, even in December, they've been playing really well. I think they're 6-1-3 in their last 10 and moving up. And I like the Blues team a lot. Every team is what their record is to some degree, but I thought as the season got started and they're going, I'm like, man, this team's better. They should be competing for top spot in that division, and that's a tough division. And now we're seeing them, as you said, moving up the standings. And I think when all is said and done, if all things are equal, they should be a team capable of winning that division or being right there with some other really good teams.
Well, and I think the offense is what's been most impressive, Mike. The ability to still put up 3 or 4 goal games with so many players, impactful players out of the lineup. And I know it's been so long since we've seen this team at full strength back to the beginning of the season. But, you go back to those first couple of games when they were at full strength and they scored 5 goals against Colorado, 7 goals against the Arizona Coyotes. Could we be looking at a team, Mike, that when they're back to full strength could be towards the top of the National Hockey League in goals scored or goals per game?
Yeah, I think so. You look at the season overall, I like to start with the process and work my way up to the results and see, okay, we know how much a team is scoring. Do we think it's sustainable? Do we think this is something we can expect to continue? With St. Louis, even strength, they're a top 10 team in terms of expected goals for. So that's basically the quality and the quantity of the chances they're generating. It tells me this is a team that's got a good process behind them. I think what's a little bit different this year with St. Louis is they're even more versatile in how they're able to create those chances than they've been in the past. Like you go back to the 2019 team, big ozone possession team, get the puck in, cycle it, win board battles, basically tire teams out, get it to the front of the net and produce chances, work it low to high. They did that so well. And they're still able to do that. But, this is a team that's third in the league creating scoring chances by cycling the puck. So they're still doing that. But they're also fifth generating chances off the rush. They're third generating chances off the forecheck. Really good offensive process-related numbers in different areas. That's impressive to me about this team.
How much of that too, Mike, and again, we're talking with Mike Kelly of NHL Network here on BK and Ferrario, how much of that created offense in through the neutral or the transition game through the neutral zone, how much of that offense is created from the defenseman jumping into play? I mean, when you think of Justin Falk and Torrey Krug and even Colton Parayko, who's got the speed, it seems like the Blues are at their best when the defense is jumping into the play.
For sure. You bring up a really good point in terms of those players as well that are able to do that. And for any team to really be a top-end transition team, so counterattacks, quick ups, and then just good breakouts, you need defensemen that can do it not only with their legs but with their stick as well. And St. Louis is a team that likes to work the stretch pass. Often Justin Falk's a guy who falls into that category, makes a great first pass as well. But like you said, they got guys that can skate too. So that's a big part of it, no question.
Mike, I remember you talking, and this was on NHL Network last season, about how good of a pairing Justin Falk and Torrey Krug had been for a stretch during the season last year, to where they really weren't allowing much through the neutral zone and shutting things down, but of course jumping into play as well. The one I'm curious about is Justin Falk. Are we looking at somebody who may not be talked about as much in the National Hockey League for what for his contributions on the ice, both defensively and offensively?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm doing a show tonight, so I'll go in there and hammer it home. Let's go. Yeah, I agree with you. He's a legitimate. He's proven to be a legitimate first pairing defenseman, and obviously good chemistry with Torrey Krug. I think if I remember this right, when I was talking about them last year, I think they had played like 100 minutes together at the start of the season and hadn't been on the ice for an even strength goal again.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, something like that. So, that's obviously goaltending impacts goals, but you look at chances and kind of what you're allowing when you're out there. They were very good last year. Even looking this year, they've been on the ice for, I think, 14 goals for and 7 against. So a 2-to-1 ratio, that's going to work. Really good chemistry together. And Falk, I like what you said too about offensive and defensive. We know he's got the big shot. He moves the puck effectively. Like I said, makes a good first pass. Physical guy. When you want to talk about defensive, he can lower the boom and good at denying entries. One thing, St. Louis is giving up, a decent amount of chances this year. They've had good goaltending. But yeah, I love his all-around game. And I liked him as a player before. When he comes to St. Louis, he's exceeded my expectations anyways.
Final one for Mike Kelly of NHL Network. And by the way, you can check out Mike later on this evening. He's on NHL Now, NHL Tonight, and On the Fly throughout the regular season tonight, starting at 10:30 Central Time. So make sure you check out Mike Kelly on NHL Network. Mike, you mentioned goaltending, and when you look at what this Blues team has had to do this season, they've used 5 separate goaltenders. With what they've been able to accomplish and the numbers that they have put up, are you looking more at the way that the goaltending has been playing, or just the way that the 5-man unit plays in front of the goaltending?
The goaltending's been really impressive. That's where I'm looking in terms, where I'd go to kind of try to isolate goaltending from team defense is looking at goals saved above expected, trying to really separate the two so you can understand each one individually. And yeah, the goaltending's been really good. Binnington's played well, obviously, in most games, I think 16 games that he's played. But Ville Husso as well, putting up really good numbers. So I'd give a lot of credit. And then Lindgren, he's been on a really nice run. He's somebody that I saw a fair bit. I live in Montreal. I spent a year doing color commentary with the Laval Rocket. I've seen him play, enough. And one of those guys where I thought, ceiling's pretty good when he's on his game, but there's at that time inconsistency issues for sure. And it's a small sample we're dealing with now, but he's been a great story. So it's a crazy year. Crazy things are going to happen. A lot of teams are going to have to look to guys that maybe they didn't expect to. Nice luxury. St. Louis they're the OG team of let's see what a goalie can do for us when we need it. You go back to Binnington in 19. I mean, even St. Louis didn't know what they had there. So, I give full marks to the goaltending this season because, like I said, St. Louis, in terms of the chances they give up and the quality of chances, it's a little leakier than it's been in the past.
Mike, if you don't mind me following up on Lindgren, just because you've seen a lot more of him than what we have in St. Louis. I mean, he's been outstanding from the 4 games we've seen him in between the pipes. But from your time watching Lindgren play, is this more of a flash in the can of what we're seeing with Lindgren's play, or is this more maybe just the product in front of him's playing tighter, which makes him a much better goaltender?
Yeah, that's helped, no question. And goalies are so tough. I mean, I was talking about this with Brian Lawton on set yesterday. How many goalies can you count that you would say this is a legit number one? We're going to give him 8 years, $8 million, whatever. There's maybe 5 in the league,
yeah.
And then you get a lot of you've got your Vasilevskis and your Shesterkins and Markstrom and Demko, whatever. But then you get into guys like Bobrovsky had a terrible year last year. He's been great this year. Markstrom had a bad year last year. He's been great this year. It's tough to get a read on. So I'm a long way from saying, yeah, Charlie Lindgren has arrived and here he goes for the next 5-7 years. He's 27. I've seen him play well for stretches at the AHL level. I don't know is the answer how long he can sustain this. But your question, I think, was, St. Louis in front of them. They're playing really well, too, and that definitely helps.
Mike Kelly of NHL Network. Again, check him out later on tonight starting at 10:30 on NHL Network. Always appreciate the time, man. You do phenomenal work with the analytical side of the game on NHL Network, so thank you for taking some time out today.
Hey, happy to do it and enjoy the game, and we'll chat soon, I'm sure.